Every WrestleMania main event, if it was the World or WWE Champion versus the runner-up of the Royal Rumble. So in other words, this is a scenario in which the runner-up of the Royal Rumble ended up winning and would go on to face the champion at WrestleMania. And by the way, when we get to the era of two world champions, we're just going with whichever match was last. It'll make sense when we get to it. WrestleMania 5, Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase. WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan versus Mr. Perfect. I like that. Strap up perfect, baby. Let's get it. WrestleMania 7, Sergeant Slaughter versus Earthquake. Ugh. There is no scenario in which this is a good match. PU. WrestleMania 8, Ric Flair versus Sid Justice. I mean, we don't get Flair and Macho Man, but you're never going to hear me say no to more Sid in my life. So hell yeah, doggy. WrestleMania 9, Yokozuna versus Randy Savage. I don't think it really matters because Hulk Hogan walks out champion either way. So WrestleMania 10, Yokozuna versus, well, the winner of it was a double winner this year. Lex Luger and Bret Hart eliminated each other. So I guess maybe just have the main event be Lex Luger versus Yokozuna instead of Bret Yoko. Have Lex be on the shoulders of everybody at the end of the show with Owen looking at him. That wouldn't make sense, but fuck it, just do it. I don't know. WrestleMania 11, Diesel versus British Bulldog. Now, these guys had a match a few months after WrestleMania, and it was not good. So, but it's WrestleMania 11. It's already at a 0 out of 10, so might as well throw on another piece of poop on it. WrestleMania 12, Bret Hart versus Diesel. Now, is this still an Iron Man match? Because the thought of Kevin Nash wrestling for 60 minutes makes me laugh. Even though Diesel and Bret had some good matches around this time period, hopefully they just keep it to a normal singles match here, because nobody needs that. None of his quads need that. WrestleMania 13, Sid versus Bret Hart. Again, they had a match a few months before this, like in reality, and it also wasn't that good. So, also, this would probably take away Bret Hart versus Stone Cold from us. So, yeah, this is a not a good timeline, I don't think. WrestleMania 14, Shawn Michaels versus The Rock. Or if you've watched Young Rock, it is Chad Frost versus The Rock. Boy, these guys hated each other, and yeah, I would love to see them try to conjure some sort of match with each other in the ring. If they wanted to, it'd be a great match, but I don't think it would be. Not in this period. Shawn's broken back and all, and Rock's original titties. Weird scenario. WrestleMania 15, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, it's what ended up happening. So all's well that ends well, I guess. WrestleMania 16, Triple H versus The Big Show. Again, this kind of happened. It was a fatal four-way where both these guys were involved. Would this have been better than that convoluted McMahon in every corner match? Probably not. So, yeah, no thank you. No thank you. WrestleMania 17, The Rock versus Kane. Now, this seems kind of ridiculous in hindsight, but 2001 Kane was a monster. This is the follow-up of that Royal Rumble where he, at the time, set the record for most eliminations. This was peak Kane from a physical standpoint. He's a monster. Love it. So this might have been actually pretty good, but I mean, it's no Rock and Stone Cold. Does Kane align with Vince McMahon at the end? Well, that's intriguing. Did we get corporate Kane a little bit early here? Yeah? I'm talking myself into this. I like it. WrestleMania 18, Chris Jericho versus Kurt Angle. I mean, this would have been the way to go, honestly. This would have been definitely better than Chris Jericho versus Triple H. And I mean, in an ideal world, you put Rock Hogan in the main event and you have Jericho, Kurt Angle, like somewhere in the middle, which would have been weird for the time, but I think ultimately it would have been better than what ended up happening. Where does Triple H fit into the picture? I don't know. Have him face Hurricane for the hardcore title for all I care. Stupid ass wet piece of shit. Fucking at what point is it blackface? You know what I'm saying, Trips? WrestleMania 19, Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker. 2003, Kurt Undertaker. I'm not mad about it. I mean, we don't, in this scenario, get Brock almost killing himself with a shooting star press, Or maybe he does, but in a different match. Maybe Brock just does that, but against A-Train, you know? WrestleMania 20, Triple H versus The Big Show. Again? Maybe it was just so good at WrestleMania 16 that they ran it back. Probably, right? Yeah, that's probably what happened. WrestleMania 21, Triple H versus John Cena, just a year early on when it actually happened. WrestleMania 22, John Cena versus Randy Orton. Again, just foreshadowing for the next several years. We see this a lot. WrestleMania 23, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. I'm noticing a pattern here. This ended up happening as well. There were a few years where like the runner-up was a guy that ended up being in the main event anyways. I don't know if they did that just because in case there was a botch at the finish of the Royal Rumble, but WrestleMania 24, Edge versus Triple H. I think we would see this later in the year anyways. WrestleMania 25, Randy Orton versus Triple H. Again, we got it. WrestleMania 26, Batista versus John Cena. All right. WrestleMania 27, finally. WrestleMania 27, Miz versus Santino Marella. Is The Rock still involved? Does in this alternate universe is once in a lifetime the next year The Rock versus Santino? I think that's how this works. WrestleMania 20. Oh, now we're back. WrestleMania 28, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 29, The Rock versus Ryback. Ooh, PU. I don't know why that tickles me so much. I think I need to see that. WrestleMania 30, Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. Not quite the storybook ending that people were wanting, but I guess it's better than Randy Orton versus Batista that year. WrestleMania 31, Brock Lesnar versus Rusev. I mean, yeah. WrestleMania 32, Triple H versus Dean Ambrose. These guys had a banger at, what was it, Roadblock? Fastlane, whatever the hell. Would have been better than Triple H versus Roman that year, that's for sure. WrestleMania 33, Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. Yeah, they did this match too late, but WrestleMania 33, this might have been pretty fun. WrestleMania 34, keeping it fresh, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. WrestleMania 35, Ronda Rousey versus Braun Strowman. You know, because Ronda does have the legit mixed martial arts experience. I'd be curious to watch this to see what happens. So now we're into the 2-night WrestleMania. So we're just going to base this off the second night. WrestleMania 36, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Yes, more Brock Roman, more Brock Roman. WrestleMania 37, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. We still haven't got like a proper one-on-one between those guys, I don't think. At least not recently, not Tribal Chief Roman. This would have been pretty cool. I dig it. WrestleMania 38, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Sure, why not? WrestleMania 39, Roman Reigns versus Gunther. Yeah. Does Gunther beat him here? Or does Gunther also lose and get a rubber chicken thrown at him? If we're looking at it that way, I don't want this. And WrestleMania 40, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. Finish that story, Punker. Finish that story of you shitting on Roman on Colt Cabana's podcast. Finish that story. Phil, finish it.